tentang tragedi yang tak pernah diungkap selama ini, dan sampai kapanpun semua jadi korban yang tak pernah bisa tidur di siang hari dan malam hari.
Soal isu 65 itu emang isu yang gimana ya, kompleks ya, karena jujur aja sebenarnya saya tuh juga penasaran bagaimana kemudian isu ini itu dipahami oleh keluarga yang paling dekat dengan saya gitu, karena selama ini saya juga seakan lebih ke seperti menghindari untuk membahas topik seperti ini, dan sampai sejauh ini tidak pernah menanyakan sih mungkin ke kakek saya atau nenek saya atau ke orang tua saya, apakah mereka itu memang pernah mengalami atau melihat secara langsung isu-isu dari 65.
Eh, aku pikir ini harus diusut tuntas. Tidak akan ada yang pernah bisa tahu apa yang akan terjadi di 65 atau apa yang terjadi di selanjutnya. Mungkin semua ini tetap harus diusut hingga tuntas.
Halo, halo, halo.
Yang 5 betul.
Halo.
Warna merah. Menyala.
Halo.
Jangan dong.
Halo.
There is a glance of how the audience responds to our artworks entitled Have You Heard It Lately?, which was exhibited at 2019. We found so many opinions there, both those in tune with the issue and those who were only joking. If we are allowed to oversimplify this, it can be seen that the 1965 issue has a certain distance, yet is also different for each youth in Indonesia. (2014), and we started running, slow pace. That was the first time we faced such a restriction for free speech. At that time, there was a movie screening of The Look of Silence at our campus that told the story of the humanitarian tragedy of 1965. The screening was then suddenly dropped on by vigilantes who came in the name of religion. After that, our curiosity started to grow. What was it with the 1965 humanity tragedy? Why is minority and discrimination still being embedded even after more than half a century? (2018), and we started running, slow pace. That was the first time we met with the 1965 tragedy survivors to prepare a theater performance and archive exhibition. At first, we met them to find archives to be exhibited. As time went by, we started to spend time together, also with the younger generation that engaged in the making of this event. From there, we listened to the story of what they went through before, at the time, and after the 1965 tragedy. The long journey of living in stigma of discriminatory political prisoners made us sure that these survivors had the fighting power and hope for reconciliation to constantly grow. (2019), and we started running, still at a slow pace. We started to ask ourselves, what relation do you have with the 1965 tragedy? And surprisingly, we received many stories. One of our friend's grandfather acted as the perpetrator. On the other side, another friend's grandfather became the victim of the 1965 tragedy, while the rest of us had no direct connection to it. We then started to ask again, "What made you want to contribute to the movement of this issue?" And we answered, "Why not?" In reality, after years and years, we are still facing the side effects of the tragedy. On the other hand, this exact distance allowed us to propose the subjective position of the youth with the event of the 1965 tragedy, which is re-questioning the binary opposition status and discriminatory relations between victims and perpetrators. 2019, and we started running, still at a slow pace. We finally made an installation of 64 telephone cans that hung from the ceiling and a red phone that stood in the middle of the room. The telephone cans included 51 interviews from various people with their backgrounds, gender, location, and respective fields. To open the possibility to dialogue with the audience, the red phone in the middle of the room also served as a recording device that captures the thought and comments from the audience after experiencing the installation. We made this installation as an effort of gradual reconciliation, starting from the outermost layer, which is minimizing the distance of knowledge and actual condition for the youth. In addition to that, we see the position of youth as a vital agent to break the chain of violence in a post-conflict dimension. 2019, and we started running, and the slow pace remained. From the work that we made, we found a few things that needed to be emphasized regarding the youth that acknowledged the issue. Not few of them actually used a non-violent approach as a method to find out the truth, examine it, and distribute it. According to John Paul Lederach's concept of reconciliation instrument, truth-telling is one of the compositions to reach reconciliation. Meanwhile, the idea of reconciliation happening in grassroots was also put forward by Luke Huyss. He believed that reconciliation at the grassroots is as important as that initiated by the government, and the youth, who are also part of the grassroots, become a vital agent in the process of truth-telling.
Kita namain projectnya sih memahami Indonesia, tapi HAM di kata memahaminya kita gedein, kita garis bawah. Sebenarnya sih ini proyek yang mau berkolaborasi sama sekolah. Jadi kita tahu bahwa sekolah ini sebenarnya punya satu upaya sendiri kalau misalnya gurunya tuh harus punya inovasi, harus punya sesuatu yang melengkapi kredit sekolah, bahwa mereka bisa menciptakan sesuatu dari mata ajaran yang mereka ajarin setiap guru di sekolah itu. Akhirnya ya udah kita coba gimana caranya kita bisa kolaborasi sama sekolah supaya mereka punya alat bantu belajar untuk ngomongin HAM. Kayaknya kita butuh nih buat ke sekolah supaya mereka setidaknya punya bacaan alternatif.
Malah karena aku mau baca itu terus terakhir mereka juga mungkin semacam sadar, oh ternyata seperti ini, oh ternyata ada narasi seperti ini. Tujuan tertentu sih biar mereka terbuka terhadap narasi-narasi yang baru, terus ngerti lah, oh ternyata ada cerita semacam ini, ben mikir dan saya juga tidak memaksakan bahwa mereka harus mengiyakan narasi yang saya ceritakan, tapi paling enggak dia berpikir tentang logika peristiwa itu gitu.
Karena kalau bukan anak muda siapa lagi gitu. Karena anak muda bisa sebagai pewaris sejarah yang mampu mengungkapkan kebenaran yang sesungguhnya. Gimana sih kalau mereka yang terlibat tuh bukan anak muda, kalau mereka otomatis yang udah berkeluarga, itu akan berkurang, maksudnya dalam artian nggak bisa semaksimal mungkin gitu loh, kecuali emang orangnya itu benar-benar terjun dan kerja untuk kemanusiaan ini gitu.
Karena itu rekonsiliasi jelas menurut saya harga mati harus dilakukan dan dimulai dari minta maaf. Karena minta maaf adalah bahasa paling sederhana dan paling ramah untuk memulai babak baru di negara ini.
From the recordings of the informants, we can conclude that a non-violent approach is carried out back and forth between the field of ideas and practice. In the field of ideas, it can be seen that the non-state historical narratives are obtained from many sources, such as books, movies, and family story. Family historical narration became interesting as a comparison because not all families in Indonesia would want to speak up about this issue. Meanwhile, in the field of practice, youth tend to do things they feel are close to themselves. For example, conducting a knowledge dissemination that has been gained to families who have not been open to this issue, so they no longer remain binary upon viewing events. And the others choose to make daily projects in small scopes, such as making music, making performances that involve survivors, sharing reading materials as alternative narration, and much more. Both are non-violent approaches that are offered and tested by youth upon the older and forthcoming generation through truth-telling as the first step of reconciliation. Critical reflection in this presentation show that the idea and practice from our sources see the events and consequences of the 1965 tragedy as non-binary. This perspective enables the current youth to no longer divide position between victims and perpetrators. Rather, it emphasizes a dialogical reconciliation, remembering that both sides are victims of national and global structural violence, so that the reconciliation process is initiated and practiced through creative ways in the frame of non-violent action. These ideas and practices can be understood as a strategy to continue previous efforts that focus on revealing violence, fact, and genocide. 2021, and we kept on running. Sometimes fast, slowing, and almost stopping in the matters of life's demands. Fundamental reconciliation composition, such as in Ledrah concept, healing, truth-telling, restorative justice, and reparation, still need to be chased. Depending on society's truth-telling without a real-time support of truth disclosure by the government, it felt like running on the spot. It felt like running on a treadmill. Imagine this. Rather than the government building a town park in which various healthy outdoor activities can be done, they offer a modern health concept through gym equipment, such as treadmills. A treadmill is a medical device that is individual in its nature, requires a fee to be accessed, is time-bound, and so on. This means that instead of opening a dialogue space of quote-unquote town park that is open to various backgrounds, the states create a system that isolates discourse. Thus, the discourse of reconciliation can only be discussed in enclosed space, requires a large social cost, and tend to fail to become a common conversation. 2021, and we kept on running. Sometimes fast, slowing, and almost stopping in the matters of life's demands. Yet, any possibilities is worth to fight for.
Sabangsa